Welcome everybody to the Latin Nerds Network. My name is Jose and this is going to be my review for Five Nights at Freddy's. Of course, the one that's highly anticipated. Of course, this is based off a very popular video game, a horror game. You play on the phone or the tablet. It's been around for years. I personally have never played the game. I'm known of it. So I'm coming from a fresh perspective as someone, as an outsider, if you will. So I can't really compare it to what the game did and delivered. I have no clue. But that being said, I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be, going to go watch this film, and I get it, to make a lot of money. It's also gonna be on Peacock at the same time. Now, buyer beware, because the last few films that were released on Peacock and theater at the same time, simultaneously, were garbage for the most part. So I anticipate this in my head walking into the movies. That really weighed heavily. I'm thinking, oh man, it's not a good sign when the studio doesn't have enough confidence in the movie to put it in theaters solely. So I'll get to that in a minute. But of course, if you're not familiar with it, or you're familiar with this property, of course, this one here, like I said, I don't know how closely it sticks to the storyline of the game. I have no clue. But here we have, a game about, a movie, rather, about, there's a kind of old pizzeria. It's called Freddy's, Fazbear's Pizzeria, something like that. It's been closed down for years. It's kind of one of these Chuck E. Cheese kind of places, pizza, video games, and it's kind of weird animatronic, musicians or whatever they care, or whatever they were like, bears and chickens and rabbits and whatever. And it's a young man who takes a job to be a security guard overnight by making sure no one goes in the place and all that, despite the fact seems like no one's even been around this place for a very long time. He lives with his sister by himself. He's taking care of their sister, and he's trying to fight custody with the aunt who wants to take the girl away because she doesn't see him as a fit guardian, which is kind of true. He can't hold the job, and he's really just, he's kind of traumatized, obsessed, even haunted by the fact that when he was young, his young brother was abducted, and he witnessed it, and ever since then he's been obsessed with trying to find out what happened. He dreams about it all the time, and he hopes via his dreams he can pick up clues and figure out who kidnapped his brother, who obviously was never found after that point. And that's kind of the basic layout here. And I'll say this because from the get-go, this is PG-13. So if you want to see some gore and it was associated with this kind of horror films, this is a Blumhouse movie, look elsewhere. You don't really get that. Just want to get that out of the way. It doesn't mean it's not good because it's PG-13. It's not good because this movie's just shit. It's that simple. It could rated R, it still wouldn't have been good. It doesn't make a difference. But just to be fair, listen, this one here, maybe the fans are gonna enjoy it. If I had a different perspective as far as being a gamer of this one, maybe it would have changed my mind. I don't know. But for me, looking at it objectively, just as a film, this movie's all over the place. It really is. And it's funny because at the beginning, I was kind of maybe getting into it, and there's some decent horror elements. And ultimately, like I always say, in a horror film, as long as it's scary, you can live with the rest, right? This one here is just not that scary. It has moments and pockets of that. There's one particular scene. You have the midway point where these individuals try to break into this pizzeria, and they get the comeuppance. And I kind of like that scene. It's actually one cool death scene in the whole movie that takes place in that sequence. Then the movie just kind of takes a weird turn. The tone just completely shifts to this kind of hokey, funny, family vibe thing, half in the middle of the film, and it goes back to the horror. It just lost all momentum for me personally. And like, look, the animatronics, they're creepy looking, and it has that kind of vibe every so often. But ultimately, this movie just falls flat, and it's just nonsensical. The story, it doesn't make any sense, and these, the whole premise of these kids who were, went missing here, and they looked for them inside there, and they thought they were there, and they could never find them, and I guess they were put in these animatronics, so their souls are in there or something, and the guy who's responsible for it and how he's tied into it, it doesn't make sense. It's weird, it's bizarre, it's just plain dumb. It really is just stupid. It's nonsensical. And I'm not saying it's a complete waste of time, but it's as close to a waste of time as you can get. If you watch it at home, maybe it's not as big as a waste of time because you're not paying for it, and that's the way I recommend you guys watch it, to be honest with you. The reason I'm recommending it because I know a lot of fans are probably, no matter what anybody says, is going to go watch it, and you should judge for yourselves. I always say, don't take my word for it, and just give you my honest opinion about the film. But it just doesn't work, man, and it's nonsensical, this kind of shifting in tone, and again, it's just ultimately just not that scary. And I could live with everything. I could live with the nonsensical stuff. I could live with some of the tonal changes. I could live with all that. If it has some cool death scenes and some good tense moments, and it just doesn't deliver on that, It's funny because again, it started off like it was going to be that kind of film, and then it just changes and never went back to the heights that it reached in the first, maybe I guess say half of the movie. So it has a lot of problems. It just had a problems. It just does not work. Does not come together. It's silly at times and dopey at times, and things that like just don't make sense. And animatronics can how they show them getting around. It just like what are these? Like this is just not explained. It's not fleshed out, so you have no idea what's going on other than just you're hoping to see some cool death scenes and good scares and all that. And again, it fails to deliver consistently on that. So ultimately, this movie does not work. It didn't work for me. Listen, fans of the game may have more attachment to it. Maybe they're familiar with the characters and what's going on, and you guys may enjoy it more. I doubt that. Nothing else but just having this invested interest in what the property is, and I think that's as far as it goes. Because if you look at something else, look elsewhere. This is not going to work. And I'm sure it's going to do well, and I'm sure it's going to have this. It's going to have its fans. I'm just not one of them. So that being said, you guys want to check it out? Comment below. Let me know what you guys thought. And of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe below and feed money to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next time.